if she hadn't held me with those firm arms, hands of hers. And so growing up was really tough for me. I wasn't really an olodo, but because I didn't even, my attitude to life was an attitude of unseriousness, an attitude of there's nothing good in me anyhow. So wherever they toss me, let me just go.
What changed? Because you set out to go become a secretary.
Yeah.
And then something happened along the line.
So I became a secretary. The change started from when I went to typing and shorthand school.
But did you apply for the university?
I did.
And you didn't get taken?
I did. Initially, my first attempt at school set was, I came out with four credits and some passes. And my father said, you know, I actually do believe in you. I mean, if you could come out with 4 credits. Is your father still alive? He is. And I'm so grateful to God. And my mom actually passed on in the middle of 2016.
Okay.
So, so she lived to see all this happen.
Oh, wow.
And I remember coming back from the US and showing her my video.
We'll talk about that too, because you ended up... no, it's okay. I mean, it's okay. You ended up in as I already said, you ended up in the state, in
the White House.
White House.
Yes, yes.
So when you came back...
So where are we now?
No, you were talking about how your mom felt...
So when I ccame back, I showed her the video of me introducing Mrs. Michelle Obama, and she was in tears. I remember her, and she wasn't feeling well at that time, and she looked at the video and she was like, I'll say it in Yoruba and then I'll interpret it. Ayo, she wo niyi, and she shook her head. I meaning, so this is you? Ah, God is great. You know, and that for me was the icing on the cake. You know, so it made even when she passed on, I would remember that smile. Forever. And I know that, you know, at that point, it made it easy for me to grieve and for me to really put a closure to everything because I knew she was burdened about me.
So tell me at what point that change happened.
The change started when that sent me to typing and... I got into typing and shorthand school.
He said, okay, go to typing and shorthand.
He didn't actually say go to typing and shorthand school. He sent me out of the house and said, when I came out with after the first attempt at school set, came out with my second result, the following year with the result that had all F9s, and he said, you've got to do something about your life. So take a walk. When you've decided on what you want to do, then come back.
And you were 18 or how old?
How old was I? I was like 17. Mm-hmm. And so I took a walk, and I passed by this typing and shorthand school, and I entered and I enrolled. And so my father was just happy that I got myself.
And you were with house helps and things?
They were all house helps. And you know, I knew inside of me, you know, the instructor would always score me high. You know, all I needed to do was ASDF, GH, KG, you know, just type and do my shorthand. And I was doing so well, but I knew that I was doing so well, not because I was exhibiting all my skills of excellence, but because I was in the midst of blind, I was like a one-eyed person in the midst of blind people, you know. So and then I became a Christian. I knew what it was to have a relationship with Jesus. I come from a Christian home, but you know, it's something to grow up from a Christian home, and another thing for you to have an intimate relationship with God. And so I began to realize that there was more to me than this. And so I finished school, ended up studying secretarial administration in a proper secretarial school, and then started working and got married. I mean, I have the best husband in the world. My husband...
How did you find him?
How did I find him, or how did he find me?
Because at the end of the day, you say he was instrumental to your becoming.
True.
Not many husbands let their wives become.
I agree with you. My husband is totally different. Mm-hmm. Well, I've met a few men like him, really. Mm-hmm. But, you know, from day one, he believed in me.
Which is the tips I want.
Mm-hmm. He believed in me. I remember, when we started courting, we are family friends, by the way. Our parents were friends, but we were different in the sense that my husband and his siblings studied abroad. We grew up here in Nigeria, we were living in Mushin. And, you know, my husband was going out with my friend then, and I remember she used to terrorize me with their relationship. Oh, I have this boyfriend in London. He's coming home, and when he comes home, and we're all like staring from the window and wondering who this guy is, you know. So, but when, we passed that stage, and then my husband and I became closer, and here we are, almost almost 24 years after, because we'll be 24 in February. So, but he always believed in me. I told him everything had been through. And he kept saying to me, Ayo, that's your past. You're a new person. And so that took me to another level of believing in myself. And so I have 20 years work experience. And my last place of work was Corona School, Ikoyi. And I got to a point, I was going to be 40 at that time, and I just knew that I was tired. And there was nothing I said to my husband about the way I was feeling that he would put me down over, even when it didn't make sense. Somehow he's a pastor, but maybe it's the pastoral anointing upon his life. He will always encourage me that you can do things.
Okay, so from what I hear is, first of all, God coming into your life, Jesus coming into your life more personally, and your husband being the encouraging factor that made you blossom. I'll take a break, take a commercial break, and I'll come back and continue my conversations on how your business actually started. And then I'll take questions in the last part of the show. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for watching so far. We'll be back with Ayodeji in a short while. So welcome back. It's a privilege for me to have the Moin Moin lady sitting down right beside me. I say privilege because I remember on that chat room, my friends were saying, one friend in particular said, I want the anointing of the Moin Moin lady. But when you were starting, you didn't think it was an anointing, did you?
I didn't think anything of it. All I wanted to do, I was in survival mode when I started. And it wasn't until I started at Corona School gates that it dawned on me that there was something about this Moin Moin.
Now, it's a business that's called No Leftovers. I have in front of me some of the things that she does. This is Moin Moin packaged. Is it after Obama that I started to package that or before Obama?
From the point of selling at the school gate and our revenues began to increase, we could afford to, do a lot on presentation and all that. That was when I started this packaging. And of course, I must pay a lot of respect to EDC, Enterprise for Development Center. I went on the Certificates for Entrepreneurial Management program, and it turned everything around. That's why I tell people that what you need to thrive in business, it's not so much money. Yes, capital is important, but you must have adequate knowledge of how a business
Eventually,
is run.
You left Corona, you left secretarial job, you started to produce this Moin Moin, and beyond that, I started to do other things.
We now have No Leftovers is a full catering outfit now, and we do quite a lot of things. We do home deliveries for families. We help them plan their meals for the week, for the month.
So it's a full catering outfit.
It's a full-scale catering outfit.
Okay, I think we had already tweeted before for people to send us some questions. Okay. I have a couple of questions that I would like you to respond to.
Okay.
Before you tell me how you felt when Michelle Obama was tasting your Moin Moin. I'll take some of the questions now if it's possible. I think I have one person called Bimbo, right? That I sent a question in earlier. Okay, that's it. Bimbo said, it's amazing to know that Moin Moin brought you this far. Did you know it was going to be this big?
No clue.
I think I already asked that to you.
Yeah, absolutely. No clue. Just like you asked. I've answered that question. I had no clue. There are times I pinch myself and I'm like...
No, but the name No Leftovers, does it have any relationship to how you got here, for example?
Each time I was leaving my house to go to sell in front of Corona School gate, my prayer was, God, please let there be none left over. Let me sell everything. And then when it came to the point of needing to get a name, I just said to myself, no leftovers. That's it. And that's how the name stuck.
So you eat it and lick the plate.
And you know what the Yorubas say? Kosajeku. That's interpretation.
Nothing left over. Can I see the next question, please? I think somebody called, Kingsley. All I have to say is that, that your story is truly inspiring. Keep it up.
Thank you.
So, but do you yourself find your story inspiring? Because do you see in your children, for example, the things that, I don't know.
I remember when I started, our children were in secondary school.
Were they ashamed to have a mommy that was selling Moin Moin?
I don't think, they were just happy mommy was more home and mommy was doing something. But they didn't want to, I would ask my daughter especially,